Hello, hello. Welcome. Let me know if you can hear me. Give me a thumbs up in the chat if everyone's good. Thumbs up, hellos. Okay, excellent, wonderful. Great. Wonderful. Well, namaste and welcome. And if you're joining us from Hong Kong, I'll send my warm greeting in spirit. But I'm going to say that in English because if I said it in Cantonese or Mandarin, my pronunciation may have delivered a completely different message. And hopefully, namaste passed muster. So, I'm Nathan Rayman. I am the founder of Learn for Life Test Prep. When I'm speaking to you today from France, actually, where I still frequently mispronounce my bakery's name some mornings, and also some other words of greater consequence. But moving on. So I'd love to know where everyone's coming from today. If you could drop in the chat where you're coming from, that'd be amazing. I'm really looking forward to connecting with you and seeing where everyone is joining us from in this global community. So that's great. And also feel free to keep your cameras on if you'd like. And put me full screen, especially if you're watching on a computer, because this is exactly what my teaching space looks like. So if you are one of my students, then I'd actually invite you to do that same exact thing. It's really important we do that because when we connect eye to eye, learning just ignites differently. So really quickly, I just want to touch base. If you're having any trouble accessing captions in your language on Zoom here and you really want to get them in a different language, hop on the YouTube Live. We can drop the link in the chat and it should automatically translate to your language of choice there. Okay? So in case you need something else from the chat and from the captions. So before we dive in, let me share something with you that might surprise you. So most families, when they come to test prep, they think that it starts with flashcards, memorizing vocabulary, get a tutor, let's go. Okay, but the real journey begins right now. It begins with a deeper, a more fundamental question. So, what if the reason so many smart students struggle to get their best results? What if it's not a lack of strategies, but it's because they've been taught to learn for the test instead of learning to trust and think with their brain? And what if there was a system built to do the opposite, to align with a student's thinking, with how tests work, but how thinking works, so that strategy becomes second nature. And so it becomes beyond strategy. And that test prep transforms into academic acceleration, right? What if the test prep also enhanced your academics, right? So that's exactly what we'll explore today. And we're going to spend our time going through a few things. I'll just lay it out for you. Okay, so we're going to be talking about Answer GPS today, right here. This is my beautiful, wonderful whiteboard. And the first thing that we're going to do is a short mindfulness moment. And we're going to do this because we want to sync our focus together and activate a really calm but energized cognition that will be focused, concentrated, and increase performance. And then we'll break down the science behind why high-performing students actually learn a particular way and why traditional prep often works against that. So I'm going to also share stories from real students and families who've experienced this exact same transformation and that I'm introducing to India and Hong Kong for the first time right now. And I'll finally show you exactly what's next if you're ready to explore further. So that's what our path today. I'm so happy that you're on it. Always feel free to drop any comments in the chat, questions. We'll get to them as we go or during the Q&A session at the end. And so I'm really excited to have you discover, right? You're right now, you're just about to discover that test prep doesn't have to feel like just another subject to cram. It can be the key that unlocks your teen's full academic potential, or your own if you're a student watching this. So let's get started, okay? So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to rewire our brains right now, okay? So brain rewiring begins here and now. And before we dive in, I want to offer you something really simple that we can do, something powerful, something that starts shifting your brain right now, okay? And it's a 1-minute technique, and it's not a gimmick. And this practice, like, it roots itself in ancient yogic traditions, developed long before the science caught up to it. And today, it's used by elite musicians before a performance, executives before high-stakes meetings, and top athletes before championships, right? And yes, I did it right before we started today, and I teach it to every student I coach, okay? Because here's the truth. If the brain isn't calm, it can't be clear. If it isn't clear, it can't perform at its best. And the method that we're going to do today, this mindfulness moment, this breathing exercise, is called box breathing. And it's just one exercise that I share with my students. Okay, we're going to do 4 rounds together to get us to this key, okay? So the way that it works is each round has 4 parts, and it's like 4 sides of the square. So we got our square right here that we can use. And we're going to inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4 seconds, and then hold for 4. Okay, so we're going to start with a deep cleansing breath, just 1. And if you're following along at home, you can also feel free to trace this right on your screen. Okay, I'm going to start over here. And we're going to do a 1 big inhale. And exhale. And now begin. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Inhale through your nose, full completely. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale everything out. Get down to nothing. And then hold, 2, 3, 4. Last round. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Great. So what we were just doing isn't just like, it's not just centering. It is, but it's not just that. We're training your brain to stay steady under pressure. And we're creating the conditions where it can perform. And this is something that when you feel out of focus, when you feel like you are leaning into a place of chaos, you can rely on exercises like this so that you can focus without force, so that you can be calm without collapse, so that you can have presence with precision. And that's the foundation we'll build on today, all right? Okay, so as I go through this, type yes in the chat if any of these sound familiar to you. All right. We're going to talk about prep before prep. You know test prep is coming, but you don't know where to start. If anyone feels that, put a little yes in the chat. You've checked out test prep options. Maybe tried a practice test, but nothing quite clicks for your family. Give me a yes if you feel like that might be you. You want results, right? We all want results. But you worry about the cost it might take, whatever that might be. You can put a yes there if you want. No. Now type agree if at this point, after hearing this, you want prep that fits your child's strengths, that fits your strengths, that fits your family strengths, not a forced grind, not something that you're adding on to something that's already rigorous and demanding. Okay, this is where most families take the first wrong step. They pick programs that are based on marketing or peer pressure, not based on how the teen's brain actually learns, how all of our brains actually learn. Okay, and here's the truth about this whole thing. Most test prep programs actually do work eventually, but at a really high cost. Stress, hours wasted, burnout, compromised performance on school or the test, right? And we don't want any of these things. Who wants that, right? So, worst of all, the student's natural thinking process gets ignored. And it even gets pushed aside by doing this, and it doesn't have to be this way. This burnout doesn't have to be this way. So let's break it down now, okay? There's something that's going to happen every time you switch strategies that are given to you by all these test prep companies. Every time you switch a strategy, you're going to lose 20 to 40% of cognitive energy. Okay, check out the reference sheet I sent, the science guide. That will take you to plenty of links that will show you what's happening when these switches take place, right? This is called context switching. This is a absolutely silent performance drain. And traditional test prep piles dozens of strategies on top of everything you're doing. And it sounds impressive to have all these strategies, but in practice, it's like opening 12 apps on your phone at the same time and then watching your phone start glitching as you start switching between them, right? It's too much simultaneous demand, and it's a memory and energy drain. Maybe there's a better way to express this. Maybe there's a better analogy, right? So let's say you're writing a report or a paper, right? You're focused on the computer, and then bing or ding, this reel pops up on your phone. You get a notification, and it's a new brain-based test prep revolution that's happening in India and Hong Kong, and you have to check it out. So you go check it out, you scroll, maybe you save it, and then you try to get back to your report, and you're lost. You're like, wait, where was I? And it's going to take a minute to get back into the flow. That confusion is real. It happens over and over in tests. You throw in these multiple strategies, and sometimes it's happening 150 times in a multi-hour exam. So that's not a test question, but you can do the math, and you know that that's you're running at a loss constantly. So no wonder smart students are still struggling. And here's the real problem. All right, traditional test prep teaches memorization under pressure, not clarity. And anyone tell me, does anyone think that their memory is something that's super reliable? Drop it in the chat if you're like yes or no, right? Have you ever had a clear, vivid memories of a shared experience, right? That the other person who was there remembers completely differently? Like, no, that shirt was red. No, it was blue. Okay. Imagine relying on this same memory under test stress. Should your family trust their SAT and ACT scores to memory? Because the brain performs best with clarity, not juggling multiple strategies. An answer GPS that I developed for this very purpose doesn't teach this strategy stacking. Okay? It trains the brain. All right? It trains cognitive fluency, a reliable, automatic process. And this process means that we're not asking students to juggle. We're giving them the GPS to stay on course. Never lost. no matter what the pressure. So last weekend, I have a story to share with you. So last weekend, my 6th grade daughter, this just happened. It was perfect timing. Well, not for her, but for the webinar. she brought me a worksheet on rate problems. She's like, I'm having trouble with this. And she had the formula, but no clue what it meant. And this is common, right? We give students formulas without real understanding. And that's not really teaching, that's scripting. So we started fresh. I asked her, okay, what do you know? All right, what do you know? Let's figure it out. What are we looking for? What's the link between all of these pieces? She guessed, she made mistakes, no harm done, just learning. And then she saw the pattern. She ended up building the formula herself. And then, only then, did we plug it into the Answer GPS, right? You can do this in 6th grade on your math homework. Answer GPS. She got the answer right, looked at me, and said, that's it? That moment, she was like looking for more, right? That moment, that clarity, that shift in confidence, that's what Answer GPS is designed to create. And Answer GPS isn't a bundle of elegantly packaged and disposable strategies. It's a sustainable, brain-based thinking framework grounded in 2 principles of cognitive science. I'm just going to catch up here to where I am. That's my daughter's story. Okay. Sustainable brain-based thinking. That's what we're talking about. Brain-based thinking and a framework. Okay, so repetition builds understanding and retention only when the brain is meaningfully engaged. And that's one of the founding principles in which I grounded Answer GPS. The other one is that behavioral change comes from consistent, targeted action, not memorization. Now, this always makes me think of my early days when in high school, I was feverishly trying to master art. And my brilliant life drawing teacher said to me, draw what you see, not what you think you see. Okay, easier said than done, but I have an image of what a nose looks like, an eye looks like, and that ends up what I end up drawing. But it's about retraining our brains. So we flipped images upside down to replicate them. We used non-dominant hands. We drew without looking at the paper. We replicated square by square. We were overriding assumptions with clear observation, without judgment. So now imagine doing all of that, drawing, and then bungee jumping at the same time, okay? That's test day for most students. And it's not about what students think they know. It's about accessing this knowledge under pressure and doing it automatically by seeing the directions right there in front of them that are guiding them to the answer every step of the way. Answer GPS trains the brain to default to clarity. That's what we want to do, not panic, okay? Even in high stakes tests. And this is why it matters. A recent study in India actually found that the knowledge transfer between learning environments and new environments, right? So you learn in one place and then you're trying to transfer that knowledge in a different place. That knowledge transfer is shockingly low, right? So students do far better in the same environment in which they studied it. And we all do. That's brain efficiency. It's like, well, I know it here. I'm going to get really good at this environment. But you have to train yourself to be able to transport it elsewhere, to transfer that application. And the thing is that the SAT and ACT are never playing on your home field advantage. Okay, so like in sports, teams win most games at home. Over half the games that they play at home, they win. On international cricket, home teams win over 60% of their matches that they play on the home field. Now, the SAT and ACT, never on the home field, seem to closely resemble the tests in school. They'll They're asking questions, it looks like math, blah, blah, blah. But they're not really the same thing. Because the way you train in school is a very specific set of criteria that is applied within a closed environment, whereas the test is asking you to transfer that same skill set into a different space. So that same training within that closed environment of the school setting transfers outside of school at a really alarmingly low rate. And the tests are never taken in the comfort of your room or in the school that you know, or in the same conditions that practice centers try to replicate. They're huge crowded arenas, all sorts of different test day variables can be thrown at you. So do all this training and then you're thrown into a situation that throws it all out the window. So what do? I Learn for Life. How do I work with my students? I train them like athletes. Elite athletes, okay? It's not, this is like, we train so that you can perform anywhere at your peak. And it's not about memorizing 50 different moves on the home field and getting really good there, but it's about automating just the one right move under any conditions on any field. So we don't just prep for the test, we are training the brain. So this is something that's super important, okay? So I'm going to be crystal clear with this. Answer GPS only works when you truly master content. It doesn't replace subject knowledge. It doesn't cut corners or skip essential steps. Instead, it activates what's already known, and it guides students to use it with absolute precision. Think of Indiana Jones. Maybe you know Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones, he doesn't make it through ancient ruins to the treasure because he's brave. It's not just brute force pushing him through. He makes it because he's prepared. And how is he prepared? In his brain. He's a renowned, brilliant professor. That's what he's actually famous for before he goes out into the world on adventures. He studied history, the language of logical deduction. He read maps. He knows how to decode the puzzle under intense pressure with one framework that allows him to access his library of knowledge that he's built in his head to guide him to success. And that's exactly what Answer GPS gives your team, gives yourself if you're a student. It's a proven framework that lets students respond with clarity and not guesswork, even in the most stressful test environments. So when you're ready, prepared with this mastery, when you have this content library mastered, built in your head, easily accessible, you know where everything is, which happens, we do that. The next phase is to master Answer GPS. Because that's your what used to be the Dewey Decimal System, we could call it, right? That's what allows you to fully access this database, okay? I don't promise that the training for Answer GPS is simple or easy, because it's a rewiring of neural networks, which is hard to do. But it can be done. And it can be done with purpose, because it's not just useful on the test. It's one framework with a return that compounds over time and over applications. But if you're not there yet, if there's still like subject mastery that needs to be attained, that's what we're here for too. We totally help with that. We offer targeted content modules to attach to Answer GPS. We have them in math, in reading, in grammar, in science, right? Take a look at the ACT. This is a wonderful test to check out because it has subjects that align with international curricula. And it has language that's much simpler and more straightforward. It's on paper, not on a computer. You want to take them both, see what's going to be better. But these modules are designed to work seamlessly alongside Answer GPS. And what I do at Learn for Life is I tailor each cohorts learning I tailor these classes to each of the cohorts learning profiles, test results, and family feedback, or individual students if we're working individually. These are custom courses. There's a broad kind of overarching framework, but then it goes in and it's like, we're not going to waste time on what students already know. We're going to use that strength to fill in gaps, shore up the weaknesses, make connections between disparate subjects that may be stronger than others, bring it all together, weave it around, align it with school, all taught in harmony with how the brain learns best. Because once you know the material, then Answer GPS shows you exactly how to lock it every time. All right, so I had a unique student I work with. We're going to call him Chris. And he had a very specific dream, the U.S. Air Force Academy. This was the pinnacle. It's where he wanted to go. But they don't accept testing with accommodations. And Chris needed accommodations to level the playing field. When we began together, he couldn't even complete the ACT section with extended time that was granted to him. So he had time and a half and could not finish it. His starting score, 18 on 36. To qualify for the academy, he needed a 26. Not a super high bar for everyone, but at this point, coming from an 18, that's hard, right? And he had to do it in standard time. So at first, this seemed totally impossible. But I remained super confident, and he was super motivated. We took a different approach. I believed in him in Answer GPS and his ability to use that to succeed. We used Answer GPS to build momentum in his strengths: reading, science, English. And he began scoring 34s, 35s, even perfect 36s. Confidence skyrocketed. And that confidence carried into math. So we were working in math, and over time, he was able to consistently complete 43 out of 60 questions in 60 minutes. And that was a huge milestone for him. And not only that, but that was the exact number he needed for a scaled score of 26. Now, it was about precision. He had exactly 43 questions. He had to get every single one right. And if he got a 26 on the official test, which he did, that meant he got every single question right. We trained for this. Not speed for the sake of speed, but precision under pressure. Getting good at that builds the speed. Using one unified, relatable, and reliable method builds the speed on its own. So on test day, under standard conditions, which were not his conditions to take a test, he delivered. He got a math 26, but his composite 33, because everything else was so high and the ACT averages the scores. No accommodations needed to get a 33. And we did this not in the 75 hours in 2 to 3 months that traditional test prep programs allot to coaching. We did it in 35 hours of one-on-one coaching. This same system. This is what we used. This same thing. So we didn't do more, but we did the right things with the right framework. It wasn't about having this kind of natural talent or something like that. It wasn't about tons of scattered strategies. It was about building a system that his brain could trust because it was built for his brain. And he could trust it anywhere, anytime. And now that you've seen that Answer GPS what it can do, your GPS right now is showing you 4 different paths, okay? And only you know which path you want to take. Option 1, you can keep searching. You can stick with traditional test prep. You can find a tutor. You can try the mainstream programs. Go for it. That's fine. They might work. But if you're here right now, chances are they aren't for you. Or they don't fit your family values about how your family values learning. Option 2, join the free June workshop. So you can sign up for our upcoming 3-day live workshop, Mastering Answer GPS. I'm going to dig super deep, walk you through each part of the framework live, and show you how it works for both the SAT and the ACT and beyond. Okay? So if this is something that works for you, feel free to put any of these numbers in. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? With this one, option 2, you'll get access to tools, replays, and also I'm going to give everyone who's here today a complimentary membership to the exclusive paid private Compass Club that accompanies, that you can add on to the Mastering GPS, Answer GPS workshop. You take this today, I'd love you to join the Compass Club. You're in. No cost, no pressure, elevated support of the whole program. And just a heads up, if you do register for the workshop, not only will you get that, but you'll also receive our Mastering Answer GPS prep guide, which is going to be a PDF workbook that gives you a head start on the 3-part session. Okay, so it'll help you, your family, track insights, identify cognitive blocks that you might notice. So it starts to kind of bring the reality in and get more out of every session. So this is yours automatically with registration, no strings attached. Take it or leave it, happy to give it. Okay, option 3, and you can mix and match these. Option 3 is to take a diagnostic, both diagnostics, and gain the clarity. Okay, so take the full-length diagnostics. We'll send you the link if that's what you want. If you drop a note in the chat, boom, we'll get you the link to the diagnostics. We have access to both the SAT, which is about 2 hours. You take it on a computer. You do it through Blue Book. You have to make an account. The link will take you to Blue Book. Log it. You have to make that account, and then you take test number 8. Instructions will be included. But you also have to take the ACT, which is about 3 hours on paper. There's no reason to not take both. They are both equally valued by colleges, and you want to get the best score. You want to see which one of these will give you the best score, okay? You take these on your own schedule. Best to do it before the Answer GPS webinar shows up at the end of June. Submit your results as soon as you finish them. You'll get a link to that. Then you're going to unlock a free family one-to-one clarity call with me to review these results. I'm going to listen to your feedback. I'm going to walk you through exactly where your child stands and what the data reveals and the best path forward. And if Answer GPS isn't the right fit, if the program doesn't work, I'll tell you that and be honest with you about it, okay? I'll also tell you when it's like, yeah, that's going to work really well. All right, option 4. You can apply for our premium program. Okay, so if you're listening here and you're like, I'm ready to commit to a fully personalized, high performance coaching experience, then apply to our 6-month Navigator's Compass program. This is a selective, hands-on journey, and it has intensive one-on-one guidance. I have only 3 spots per region per month, ensuring really focused attention to every student and family with whom I work. You can secure your spot on the wait list so that as soon as a spot opens up, we can get you in. There'll be spots opening up in July. And so whether you're curious, committed, or just beginning to explore this test prep world, there's a next step for you. If that's something you want, we will drop number 4 in the chat, and we will send you the link to the application. You can also always reach out to us on WhatsApp. You can send a message right here. Send us an email later if you want, and we'll get you started with the application process. We'll get you any of the links that you need. You let us know. So if you're ready to pick one of these paths, drop a 1, 2, 3, or 4 in the chat, and we'll follow up with you. All right. So if anyone has any questions now, I'd love to open it up to your questions. If not, we can move on, but I'm sure maybe some of you have some questions. So feel free to drop them in the chat, raise your hand. I love the engagement that we've been having so far. It's really great to see everyone from all over the world right here giving us some high engagement. So I'll get it started. So some of the questions that people might have, I don't know what you do. Somebody's wondering what if, okay, for me, I've tried so many test prep trips from YouTube and TikTok, and honestly, it gets overwhelming. How is this approach different? That is such a good question. So how does that work? So what those are doing is those are all amplifying the notion of context switching. You can get really good at all those individual strategies. There are plenty of students who do that, but you're putting in way more time and way more effort and way more stress for the same outcome. And the outcome is less reliable, because what's happening is you could get your context switching down to like 10, 20% of loss, but that's still a loss every time you're switching. Whereas Answer GPS maintains the same process for every question on the entire test. So your level of context switching reduces tremendously, because you're not constantly seeking what strategy to look for. You're not looking at a question and not having to go through a library of strategies first, identify what it is, and then if you get that wrong, the whole question's wrong. You didn't even try it. You just picked the wrong strategy. You're completely out of luck. Answer GPS is a guidance system. It's exactly what it stands for. It guides you, supports you, so that you know how to break down every question to arrive at the right answer. Okay? It will just take you there. It's not magic. It won't happen the first time you try it. It won't happen necessarily the second time you try it. Over time, we build this. Just like Chris in the Air Force Academy built it up from an 18 to a 26. That was lots of work, lots of effort, but still fewer hours than traditional test prep. One of my colleagues used to run one of the biggest test prep centers in Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia. And we were talking about this method, and he couldn't believe it. He would have programs where he's like, okay, we're going to do 2 to 3 2-hour sessions 3 times a week, and we're going to do this for 3 months. And then on top of that, you have homework and practice tests. The homework has nothing to do with school. So there's extra homework on top of everything. So what happens here is Answer GPS helps distill it into something that is usable in school as well. And on break, I don't want to keep you guys here too long. I've already gone way over. So I know some of you have to go. I will be going into depth on this in the end of June, and I'll keep you in touch. So it's time now that I like to bring this together, unless anyone has any more questions. I want to bring this full circle. I want to tell you that, remind you that you came here today because something drew you here. Something about traditional test prep didn't feel right, didn't sit right. You knew something was different, and you stayed because something about this approach did feel right. And Answer GPS isn't about adding more to your plate. It's about activating what's already there and turning that into a performance mechanism that your child can rely on under pressure, on the test, and beyond the test. I'm not giving you a bag of tricks. It's a thinking system built from brain science, tested with real students, refined with real students, and designed to work for not just the next test, not even for the next 5 years, but for your child's entire academic journey and then your whole life. And if you're a student, this is something that can change the way you approach going into college and the rigors of a U.S. Undergrad experience. I'm introducing this to India and Hong Kong for the first time. And here's what I want you to remember. What would it mean for your child to walk into, or you, if you're a student, to walk into an SAT or ACT on test day and say, haven't I seen all of this before? I think I took this test last week. not because they crammed, but because they were trained to think with clarity automatically. Whether we work together or not, that's totally fine. I just hope that you leave with something stronger than test prep advice. I hope you leave with even a small insight into how your child learns, how you learn, how we all learn, and to see what's truly possible when we train our brain to perform, when we take advantage of it. We know that we can pilot it. And if you're ready for that next step, let's talk. Let's test. Let's train. And let's build something better together. Thank you. And I just want to say your child doesn't need more hours. They need the right system. And if that sounds like the path forward for you, there's a seat waiting. So thank you so much for coming, for staying, for joining us, and for participating. And I look forward to seeing you soon, hearing from you soon.